Hey folks, today we are here with Sara Brenner of Brenner Real Estate Team at Red One Realty. What is up, girl?
Hey, good to be here.
Good
Thanks.
to see you.
Absolutely.
For those agents who have never done a new build, what would you say is the biggest nugget that, agents should be aware of?
If you're with a production builder,
Yeah.
I'd say it's making sure you do your own inspection. Hire a third-party inspector and make sure that they come through, preferably pre-drywall, but at least before you move in.
Tell me about your process when taking on a new
That is such a good question. So oftentimes what I'll do on the phone is I'll say, hey, I would absolutely love to show you 123 Main Street, whatever. Why don't we meet at the Starbucks at, 3:30? I'll schedule the showing for right after that. And then I try to do a 30-minute or so. I don't even do a full consult at that, but I at least want to sit down and talk with them. And it also does kind of help weed out the axe murderers because they're not going to come sit with you and have coffee, right? So it does sort of help weed that out. There's safety to that as well, I think, to go sit down and have coffee with someone before you go and actually show a home. Mm-hmm. So at that 30, 45-minute conversation, I can talk to them a little bit about what they want. I'm not getting into the exclusive yet. I'm not getting into any of that right now. Just what are you looking for?
When you have an agent that's like irate, I've had that before.
Yes.
How do you navigate that?
So I think in life in general, it doesn't matter if it's an agent or someone else, meeting their irateness doesn't help, right? I mean, you've got to figure out how to keep yourself calm. It depends on who it is and what they're saying. Sometimes just being quiet and listening is the best thing, and then just take a deep breath. Yeah. I've often found, and I think this is sort of the theater part of me, I've found that if they're doing that, I get very quiet and my voice will get kind of low and I talk more slowly and I get very calm, and it's almost the total opposite. Yeah. And it's maybe my defense mechanism, but it's just, I'm not going to get irate back because that doesn't help.
So effective.
It's the other way around.
It's psychologically?
Yes, it's a lot more effective.
You're bringing all the intensity down.
Yes.
And since they're in a fight state, their listening is so...
very acute.
Very acute.
Yes.
That if you bring your volume down, they have to stop talking to hear you. Mm.
We have kind of a lower... there are some people who put us in the same category as used car salesmen, right?
Yep.
There are a lot of people who don't love real estate agents. That's our own fault, I think. It's because of the way we've treated our profession, treated our clients, and treated the industry.
So powerful what you just said. We are responsible for the public perception of us being cheap labor.
Yep.
Also, buyers historically haven't paid for our services.
Right.
So the barrier for entry to utilize our services is so low that it's similar to walking into a dealership.
And you have agents out there saying it's free to work with me, which don't say, because that's also part of the DOJ lawsuit. You can get in lots of trouble for saying that. So don't say it's free to work with you as a buyer's agent, because it's not.
Oh, interesting.
But
that's a good learning. Yeah, I think going back to your consultations, it ensures that you provide value up front.
Excellent.
So they know you're not cheap labor and you're not a tour guide.
Yes.
To someone that really knows you well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What's her name? Not full name.
Probably my husband.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's his name?
Andy.
Andy. Okay. So if I had Andy in this seat and you were outside in another room and I said it at Andy, in 3 words, tell me, how would you describe Sara? What would Andy say?
What would Andy say? We're very supportive of each other. So, probably that I'm determined.
Determined.
What else would he say? Thoughtful. And I like just always on the go.
Yeah, active.
That's a good word.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm a firm believer. Ryan Suriant says this. Gary Keller says this. Grant Cardone says this, that lead generation is our number one responsibility as real estate agents. When you ask a new real estate agent, what do you think your number one responsibility is? A lot of them say to show houses. Well, you can't show a house if you don't have a lead. And you're not going to have a lead if you're not out there generating leads, right? So that's one of the big things we focus on our team. One of the big problems, though, is that you put an agent on the phone, especially a new agent, or even if they're experienced but they've just never made phone calls, you put them on the phone, and that first just half teensy little objection, they say, okay, great, thanks, have a nice day, and they're off the phone, right? One of the things we do when our team gets together, and it's really fun, but it sounds kind of crazy and maybe it sounds a little off kilter, but there's a theater improv game where you respond to what someone else says.
The other thing that I've learned is what and how questions are the most effective questions. Stay away from why questions because they prompt defensiveness.
Yes.
And I love that you've incorporated your theater background to role play. I know a lot of agents don't like scripts and don't like role playing because it feels inauthentic.
It does.
It's the most effective way to learn. How do you react appropriately and effectively to navigate objections?
Yeah.
How do you suggest agents get over the resistance they may have with scripts and role playing?
I think with anything, if the way you're doing it now isn't working, right? So there's the old saying, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results is the definition of
crazy.
Right. So unless you want to continue being crazy and seeing the same results over and over again, you have to be willing to take a step back and say, okay, what do I need to do differently? Right. So I don't think it matters whether it's scripts or any part of this business. If you're not seeing the results that you want, you might want to stop for a minute and think, well, okay, is my predisposed opinion about whatever really the right one if it's not working?
Yeah. When you prospect, what's a question that you like to ask at the beginning to start the rapport building and begin the discovery process?
Yeah. It doesn't matter whether it's a buyer or a seller. I'm all about like, why? What's our end goal? Motivation. That's the first thing I want to talk about.
Yeah.
What's the motivation? Where are you going? And the reason that's always my first question is because I will always go back to that.
Sara Brenner. Oh my God, man. You're awesome.
You and my husband should get together and do accents.
Oh,
he loves doing.
I think that'll be my next interview in a British accent.
There you go.
Yes.